Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Laura, if you could do the roll call.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Hensley.
Here.
Councilmember Kidwell.
Here.
Councilmember Teague.
Here.
Councilmember Ward.
Here. Okay, next I'd like to ask Chief Alan Shipley to come up and lead the invocation, and then Tim Ward will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, dear God. We thank you, Lord, for the springtime, Lord, that you let us enjoy, dear God. Lord, we ask you to be with us and guide and direct us, this board. Help them, dear God, to do your will, dear Father, and just be with them. And we ask these things in your name. Amen.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody. This is a sellout crowd. It's one of the few we've had, I think, and since I've been mayor anyway. So welcome to our meeting today. Couple of comments. I don't know if you saw, but last week in Murfreesboro, Ron Metcalf from WGRV was awarded an
EMA Media.
a media award from the Emergency Management Association of Tennessee. And so if you see Ron out and about, thank him again for all he did during the floods. It was incredible. I've had more than one person come to me and say that they kind of set their clock to be sure that they were around the radio when it was time for those briefings. So it was a great honor to go down there and be with him. We also have a little activity this weekend going on. It's called the Irish Festival. The next weekend. Okay, well then, if anybody wants to plant flowers, you're welcome. Where are you going to be, Jan?
At the Main Street office, the old Andrew Johnson School, 10 o'clock Saturday morning.
Okay, good. And I don't know if you saw, but we got the College Street paved just in time for the new thing and for the Irish Festival. And I think that our Public Works Department did a great job. We've also got a couple of proclamations that we are putting out, but with the number of people that we have here, I'm not going to go into those in much detail. There were two proclamations. One was for the National Skilled Nursing Care Week. There is going to be a parade at Hardin Park at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on Monday, the 12th. If anybody would like to participate, our skilled nursing home or our nursing homes will be bringing in some of their clients, and it's really pretty cool. So if you have a few minutes Monday morning, I'd love for you to go by. The second one is for our emergency management people, emergency medical services. So without those folks, we would have a hard time getting by. So that week is in May, and the next time you see somebody that works for EMS, thank them for all that they do. We also have a couple of retirements coming up, or have come up or already happened, and we're going to recognize those people. So I'd like to ask Patsy to come up.
Thank you. We are losing two more great ones to retirement, and then I also have some officers that I want to recognize.
Okay.
First off, I'd like to call up Gina Holt. She's a sergeant, SRO, and she spent 19 years with us. Oh, excuse me. Gina spent 19 years with us, and I'm proud to offer her a plaque and another gift for her. So. that Gina loved the kids as a SRO. And I really miss them. We talked about it several times.
They'll miss her.
I'm sure they will. Oh, okay, I'm sure. Okay.
Let me say this, Gina has been a great asset for us, and a tremendous asset. And I know when we started the SRO program, she was very excited about it, and I think it's been a great fit at Highland. They love you, and I know you love being up there. And unfortunately, when we do a program called the Bridge Retirement, it's a great program, but part of that is we lose people. There's a mandatory retirement age, 40, right? 40 is the mandatory. So we have this retirement age as part of our program, and it really hurts sometimes because you're losing really good employees and officers. But certainly, you've been great for us, and thank you for your service to our town.
She's got her fan club.
It is, well deserved.
Okay, everybody smile, no blinking, 1, 2, 3. Done a great job of recruiting future officers, because we have so many students who want to be a police officer, just like Officer Gina.
Okay. I want to ask Paul Laughlin to come up. Paul has spent 9 years with us and many other years as a building inspector, and he's been our senior building inspector for 9 years. So I want to recognize him. So she's over there. So
He's not retiring.
Guys, I want to say that I've had the opportunity over the last 7 years to work with Paul. It's been a pleasure, and the work that Paul did in helping our building department grow and be able to handle the growth. And I want everybody, I know a lot of the work that we did at the building department, a lot of the work that Paul did. When you go in Texas Roadhouse, you go in any of the stores and the commons, and you see how well they're put together and the safety features that are in them. We all have Mr. Law to thank for that, because Paul was basically the field general that took care of it. And, we're going to miss him tremendously up there. And Paul, it's been a pleasure, and I enjoyed working with you, sir.
I'm gonna add this, Paul came at a time when our department really kind of took a hit to the gut.
Yes.
We lost our department director, and Paul came in came into the department when it was just really in transition and really at a critical moment, and came in and really added some experience and professionalism. And our building department, our employees in the building department come into that office every day with the first thought of their mind is, how do we keep our community safe? How do we keep our citizens safe? Every building you walk into, you can be rest assured, people like Paul Laughlin are on duty. Your buildings are safe today. So Paul, thank you for doing that.
appreciate that.
Leave it already?
He's gone. He doesn't have to listen to you anymore.
Now she gets to go to the budget hearing with us. She's excited.
Okay, I have some a special reward to 3 police officers. And I'll call each up and we're gonna honor Allison Brooks. She is the Patrol Officer of the Year. And the next one is Derek Moore, and he's the SRO of the year. Okay, and I have Eric Davis. He is Detective of the Year. Let's give these great folks a standing ovation, please.
Just so y'all know, these officers here exemplify what we look for in police officers. Allison is also the first female officer we've ever had on our tactical team. So, thank you very much for joining in with that. Yes, sir. Eric, they come to work every day, they don't complain, they do their job, they do the best they can, they do what we expect them to do, and they go home. They do a fantastic job for the department, the town, and the community, so we appreciate the effort you guys and ladies are putting in.
Okay, we'll get a picture of you all. Scoot together.
Scrunch.
Okay. Okay, and before y'all leave, I was gonna get a picture of Gina with the officers that are here. So we'll just do that right now. And Callie, you can stay.
He's gone. Oh, no, she. Oh, yeah, come on, everybody. Yeah.
Okay. And squeeze together. Like we like to.
I have to.
Yeah. Okay.
Find your window.
Everybody in there? Yeah, okay, I got everybody. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
After these positive, I think I'm just going to call a meeting off from this point forward, so. Now, I'd also like to recognize there are a couple people from the leadership class, Leadership Greenville, Greene County. Could y'all stand up and introduce yourselves, please?
My name's Jimmy Harrison, I work for Parker Hampton, and work with the Greenville Leadership Program.
Okay. Thanks. Is there anyone else? Appreciate y'all coming. And you said you have to be here for an hour and then you can escape, huh? All right. Is there anything else you can think of?
Not that I know of.
All right. Is there people signed up? Okay. Is there anyone else? All right. Well, then we'll go on to unfinished business. Item 7.1 is consideration to approve the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting held on April 15th, 2025. We got those out last Friday or Thursday. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Goodness gracious, I thought this was really going to be a long meeting.
Wait the second order.
We've got a motion and a second. Is there any additions or subtractions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. All right, item 8.1 is an update by Eric Carroll, CEO of Greenville Community Hospital. Eric, come on up. And thank you for coming today.
Well, thank you for giving me a little bit of time. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to follow that, though. That was some great presentations. I'm just going to give a brief update, and then obviously if there's any questions, feel free to wave me down in the middle or hold those to the end.
Can you get just a little closer to the microphone?
How's that?
That's good.
Okay. So I always like to give an update on the leadership team. We've had a fairly stable leadership group for the last several years. However, we have added a new chief financial officer in the last few months. That's Jake Halstenson. He comes to us from the cold north. He's from Minnesota. He lives in the Bulls Gap area, and he covers Greenville, Hawkins, and Hancock County. So he spends the majority of time in Greenville, but also covers those other two hospitals. The rest of us, I think most of you guys are familiar with. Can't go through a meeting like this without recognizing Hurricane Helene and all of the amazing work that went in such a tragic situation. The amount of good that came out of that, the amount of teamwork and cooperation between the entities, really was amazing to see, and that was not just inside the hospital, but inside the entire community. So this is just some of the things that we did. We did have to relocate 58 patients as part of that evacuation. We were shut down for about 10 days other than emergency services. After the flood, a lot of things went in. Unicoi County obviously was the most devastated from that impact. And a medical resource unit was set up in Unicoi County, and now they have an advanced urgent care until the reconstruction of that facility. Always like to update us on the level of services that we have inside the hospital. These are relatively unchanged since the last time I did my presentation, but for those who may not be completely familiar with what we offer, this is a list of those services, including inpatient services, ICU services, a 24/7 emergency room, a family birth center, and I'll hit some of those others here as we go through the rest of the presentation. Surgical services is obviously a big one for our facility. You can see the list of different types of surgeries that we offer, along with general surgery and orthopedic are obviously the two major service lines for us, but also offer urology, ophthalmology, gastroenterology, and others. Robotic assisted surgery is the real big addition to our surgical services that we've had in the last year and a half. That program has been very successful. We're averaging over 90 cases per quarter, so about 30 cases a month. But I will say in the last 3 months, I don't have the numbers for April yet, but for January, February, and March, we did 128 robotic cases. So you can see the trajectory there is certainly on the upswing. All three of our general surgeons have completed more than 100 cases, and we continue to advance into more advanced cases as the months go on. So cholecystectomy, which is gallbladder surgery, appendectomy, hernia repair, and colectomy are the four major groups that we're currently doing. Of course, Greenville Community Hospital is proud to be part of the Ballard Health Niswonger Children's Network. We have several services that are certified as part of that program. Our family birth center, our emergency department, our pediatric therapy department, our Green Mountain Pediatrics, and our pediatric care navigators have all been recognized as members of the Niswonger Children's Network. Our family birth center, that is one that was renovated in 2019. It's as nice as any in the region. So we're doing a lot of deliveries in that facility. They've been recognized by several entities for the quality of care that they provide, including the Tennessee Initiative for Perinatal Quality Care and the Cribs for Kids, where they were able to achieve a gold tier standard for that service, which is the highest level. Capital investments, which is obviously very important to us. We always want to be growing. We always want to be improving, so I'm going to hit a couple of those. The most recent one that we announced is the update of our linear accelerator, which is used in our radiation oncology program. That was made possible partly by a generous gift from the Niswonger family. So they were nice enough to contribute $1 million to this project. And so that allowed us we will be the first hospital in the Ballot Health Network to have the newest, the latest and greatest linear accelerator for our cancer program. Patient room upgrades. So we've been able to update pretty much every piece of equipment in our patient rooms. We're in process of upgrading flooring, lighting, and window treatments as well, just to give the facility the facelift that it certainly deserves. The pictures there that you can see is during our bed deliveries, the Hill-Rom trucks there in the lower right-hand corner. And the picture in the lower left-hand corner is some of the finishes that we're using in those rooms. Fortunately for everybody involved, I was not involved in picking those finishes. So our emergency department upgrade certainly has been a focus for us over the last several years. We've completed phase 1 of renovations. We do plan a phase 2, which has been completely funded, and we've started meetings along with architectural drawings for that phase 2 expansions. So we will add an additional 4 patient rooms, as well as add some much needed storage space for our team in the ED. We do have a timeline for construction of late 2025 for that to take place. CT is very important as an imaging modality in our facilities, so we'll be installing a new CT scanner here just in the next few weeks. So there will be a little lag. We have to pull the old scanner out, put the new scanner in. It's not quite a plug-and-play situation, so it will be about 3 to 4 weeks that we will manage through some downtime with that particular piece of equipment. We do have 3 CT scanners in the building, so it will not be a downtime as far as the entire modality, but it will create some capacity challenges for those 3 weeks. For upgrades for urology and gastroenterology, we have a new surgical table that will be installed in July. So that's another situation where we'll be exchanging old equipment. That equipment is probably around 25 years. It is a piece of equipment that should last 20 to 25 years, but will certainly end of life. And so we'll be replacing that to upgrade our urology and gastroenterology services. This one I'm certainly excited about. We'll be doing upgrades for our main entrance, as well as adding a surgical waiting room to try to decompress our outpatient services center. So we are currently fundraising for that project, and the Ballot Health Foundation has done a $75,000 matching grant for funding for that project. So this is a rendering of what the main lobby will look like once that's completed, and then our newly created surgical waiting room you can see on this second slide here. Additional projects that I didn't have pictures for, they're not quite as interesting, but HVAC is certainly something that you have to have. You really don't notice it until it's not working. So the units on top of the building are at 30 years old, so they are in need of replacement. So we'll be working to replace those over the next 2 years. We're upgrading flooring on our 3rd and 4th floors. We did have an issue with that based on some temperature and humidity issues as a result of the floods back in September and early October. Elevator refresh, MRI replacement is on the books, as well as updating our general radiology equipment as well. Those are all projects that we should see happen over the next 2 to 3 years. I wanted to close just with some community benefit information. This is a slide that captures, as you know, Ballot entered into the COPA and the cooperative agreement with the state of Tennessee and the Commonwealth of Virginia. So these are numbers that are reported to the state as far as charity care, unreimbursed care, and the different dollar sizes you see there. Specific to Greene County on this next slide, you can see in the fiscal year 2024, there was around $9.2 million in charity care provided to the patients here in Greene County. And some updated numbers. Again, these are FY24 numbers. We don't close FY25 until the end of June. So these are numbers that we saw last fiscal year. So an average daily census of around 53. When you add in observation patients, we hover in the upper 60s to low 70s. About 28,000 emergency department visits. That does continue to make us the 4th busiest emergency department in the Ballot Health Network, behind Johnson City, Holston Valley, and Bristol. 4,700 discharges, 4,200 surgeries, and about 460 deliveries at our facility. So this is certainly a busy slide, but what this is meant to tell you is that we have created a health disparities task force within Ballot Health, and specifically at Greenville Community Hospital. And so every patient that comes in is screened for certain health-related social needs. Those include food, housing, utilities, transportation, and safety insecurities. So each patient is given a series of questions just to determine if there is a particular need for that individual. If those needs are identified, then we can connect them with either a health navigator or a social care hub to help them meet those needs. One that we focused on specifically here in Greenville, food insecurity has certainly been at the top of our list. So we've partnered with Second Harvest Food Bank and Feeding Southwest Virginia to make sure that there are food boxes available for any patient or any family that were to request those as they come in as one of our patients. So if they need to be discharged with a food box to take with them, it's all non-perishable food, and we will send that with any patient that requests it. And lastly, and the timing is great for this. We're celebrating Hospital Week this week. We're celebrating Nurses Week. And yesterday I was fortunate enough to participate in the inaugural class signing for the Ballot Health Academy. So this is a program that will take place throughout the region. Greenville had 55 students that made the commitment yesterday to become part of the Ballot Health Academy. So they will have the opportunity to earn a practical nursing degree before they graduate from high school. So it was a standing room only crowd. There were a lot of people there and a lot of excitement around this program. The biggest problem that we have with the program so far is over enrollment. So I think the budget was they were estimating around 100 students to participate region-wide. I think there were 205 that have signed up. So that's a great problem to have. It's certainly the problem that we can deal with. I mean, it was a great ceremony yesterday to sign them, just as if as athletes sign their letters of intent to go play in college. We wanted to give that same experience to these students that are signing on to have healthcare careers.
You have to be a junior, senior.
There were students as young as the 8th grade that were signing up to participate in particular curriculum as they go through their high school career.
That lets them go on to Walter State or wherever they want to go.
It'll prepare them. The initial kickoff is around the nursing program, because that certainly is the greatest shortage. The anticipated growth of this program will branch into other areas as well. So it may be radiology, it may be healthcare finance, it may be AI. That's certainly going to be a blossoming need within the healthcare space as well. So the possibilities are endless with a program like this.
There'll be LPNs when they graduate from high school?
Yes.
Is that correct?
It gives them a jump start, and they'll have an opportunity that they can come to work for Ballot Health as an LPN then, or it could jump start them toward an RN degree or really anything else that they want to do. So great program.
Real quickly, I was at a meeting the other night and talking about urology and gastroenterology that we have here. And we're one of the few communities in the region that have that. Is that correct?
We are very fortunate that we have both a dedicated urologist and gastroenterologist that are here in Greene County. Yes, not every community in the region has gastroenterology services. So we're one of the few that has both that are here on a permanent basis.
And then the 457 births, I think that there's quite a few people that come from other parts of the region to come here. Is that correct?
We have several births that come from outside the county, even over in North Carolina, that come to seek care at our facility. Yes.
Okay. Anybody else?
Eric, I appreciate your update. As we are kind of going through our summer, we're going to be starting a strategic planning process for the town of Greenville and kind of looking 10 years out into the future. Part of that, a big part of that is healthcare, and our community is changing, as everybody knows. We're growing, the demographics are changing, and just in looking in that kind of 10-year out, we're asking ourselves about transportation and police and fire services, other public services, but healthcare's got to be part of that equation as well. So as we kind of look at the 10-year future, certainly your input will be very important, I think, in our community as healthcare becomes a more important issue. I think our demographics are shifting to the point where healthcare is a bigger and bigger issue for us.
Yeah, we'd be happy to participate in any way.
Good.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Kathy was freaking out when there were 29 slides. She said, how long is that going to last? Good job.
I knew I could get through them quick. Thank you.
Item 8.2 is presentation by Depot Street property owner regarding street lights. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Hate it.
I want to follow up on something that Eric just said. As you know, I'm very close to Ballard on their executive committee, and Children's Hospital's near and dear to all of our hearts. But one thing you may not know, in this program that Eric spoke of, where we had 55 signing from Greenville High School alone yesterday, that program is in combination with the Bloomberg Foundation, who has never done anything in rural healthcare, multi-billion-dollar foundation. And through some relationships, he was looking to do something in rural healthcare. First of all, to curtail the nursing shortage problem. Our nursing right now in turnover is at the lowest it's ever been, even back to Ballard, Mountain States and Wellmont days at 11%. The national average is about 13.7. So we're having an impact on that. But Bloomberg has helped the Niswonger Foundation and Ballard Health fund this beta site to see if we can't even make those numbers better in terms of turnover and employ more local people as they come out of high school into good paying jobs. Phase two is if they go on beyond the LPN, Ballard will sign a contract with that student to pay for their moving to their RN degree in exchange for a contract to work for Ballard. Well, as we all know, most of our kids want to live in this region if they have the job opportunity. So this is going to be a 5-year project. We're reporting back to Bloomberg on this every quarter on what we're doing. The last thing I'll say about healthcare before we talk about lighting on Depot Street is very few people know this, but this past year, Ballard Health subsidized specialty doctors to the tune of $300 million to keep those specialists. When you talked about urology, this Greenville being one of the few, that's the reason why. These docs could go anywhere else and make much more money if it weren't for that subsidy that Ballard reinvests in the region. Top of that, Quillen College of Medicine is looking, and I think this will happen, is beginning a specialty in urology, not just rural medicine for MDs. So that's come a long, long way in the last 5 or 6 years. Okay, lighting on Depot Street. If you'll open your book, thank you, Kathy, to the first page, you'll see the lighting at night in the apartment windows of the building we just finished. We have, is it three loft apartments or 4, Robin, there? 3. And even with those shutters shut, it takes blackout shades to keep that high intensity lighting out of those apartments. If you move to the next slide, please. This just shows the project area, and it's come a long way since this picture was taken. The 3 or 4 street lights are down in front of the new project, which is 9 condominiums. 7 of those have already been pre-sold. We have 1 1-bedroom and 1 2-bedroom left, but 2 of them are contingent upon our fixing the lighting problem, and that's what I want to address with you today. Next one, Kathy, please. So this is what Depot Street looks like at night. As you can see, every blade of grass and every speck on the brick pavers. When it came time for this project for the lighting to take place, the lighting behind this in the new parking lot is 18-foot high poles, 3-foot high heads, and 4,000 lumens, which is properly spec'd for a parking lot. When GEA, and I think we worked with, 1,000 lumens, which is properly spec'd for a GEA, we have our lighting poles that are 5 to 6 feet higher than they should be, and the lumens should be 3,000 instead of 4,000, which means 25% less lighting. Kathy, would you give me the next one, please? So this shows what it should look like. This is in front of the foundation office. Sorry, drifting through the mic. The poles at Walter State, which we hoped would set the standard for the rest of, certainly the historic district and the entire downtown area, are 12 feet. The ones on Depot Street are parking lot illumination value and 6 feet higher. And so that is a problem. And oddly enough, the city lights on the left that have the yellow glow, those are 15-foot poles. So let's go one more and see what we got. That just shows you what the 12-foot pole looks like and the efficiency of that lighting at 3,000 lumens. So let's see, Kathy, if I think that may be, yeah, that's it for now. If you just hold back at the Walter State for a second. I have two issues to talk about. So what I'm asking is for a change, go all the way back to Depot Street, maybe our second one. And one more maybe. Yeah. What we're asking to do is to change in this block where there will be a lot of residential at the second level, to change out those LED lights from 4,000 lumens to 3,000, which would give you the lighting that you see on Walter State. Look at it some evening when you're driving by. And put shields. They make the lighting company actually makes a shield that would go on the backside of the streetlights that would shield the residential area from that lighting. Obviously, we want to put more light on the street, less light in the windows of the residential area. My understanding is that there may be funding available at the city of about $10,000. Our estimate on this change will be $40,000. We, as the developer, Depot Street Properties LLC, will make up the difference to get these changed. And if I didn't say this, 2 of the condominiums sales are contingent upon this lighting being toned down, for lack of a better word. And we expect a CO by the end of June. So we will have people moving in and then in the next 8 weeks to this. So it's imperative that we get on this pretty quickly, or 2 of those sales may evaporate on us if we don't come out of here with a conclusion that's satisfactory to everyone. So that's my request, the first request on lighting, if you'd like to consider that. I'm not sure what you have to do to enable this to happen.
Where was this $10,000 that you said that was available from the town?
Todd, can you help me with that?
Well, in a previous conversation, we talked about the shielding, which is a $5,000 amount for the whole block. And so in Mr. Nosmar's conversation and our conversation, I said, if shielding is the solution, we can do it today. It's a $5,000 cost. I've got a $10,000 limit. When I get above $10,000, I have to go to city council per our purchasing policy to get permission. So that's what our initial conversation was. If it's a $5,000, if it's the shielding at $5,000, I, as a city manager, can go start the project now. If it's anything above $10,000, we're going to have to come to city council to have that conversation for any kind of approval above that.
So again, as the developer, we're willing, we both invested about $8.5 million in the streetscape for the city and about $8.5 million in these new buildings that we've built. So I'd hate to have $40,000 hold up the sale of $1 million worth of condominiums.
Well,
Take action?
I'm sorry.
Does it take action or move ahead?
I think we need to move ahead. I think that this is a new kind of situation for me, having somebody request 50,000, 40,000, 10,000, whatever it is. So I'm not sure how this would be handled. Can you help guide me through this, Mr.?
Yes. So obviously, we'd have to have a budget amendment to expend funds that weren't budgeted. So that's the one issue is if it's 5, 10, anything above that, we'd have to do a budget amendment, which is body, you could give preliminary approval today and we can work in the next budget amendment to incorporate that. So I think that's the biggest issue from a financial standpoint is we'd have to amend our budget since this is not in our FY25 budget that's been approved.
Scott and I, Mr. Niswanger and I have talked about it, but that's all. So I don't know if y'all knew anything about this or not. So were you aware of this discussion?
We received an email from Todd a while today, and I think a while back about some concerns on Depot Street. So nothing at the granular level, but we were aware that there was some concern regarding illumination on Depot.
John Fisher made me aware of this and had not a quick discussion with John, but at length, the difference of Water State's lighting and actually Main Street's up there compared to this. But who missed this? Was it our engineers? Why do we have parking lot lights on the streetscape? And can the elements be changed?
I think it was omission, not commission here. The project manager, more of a civil engineer, and it was just missed. And if we're at $10,000 as a miss on an $8.5 million project, I think we've done pretty well.
No, that's not all. We've still got railings to go. We've got to paint curbs down through there for people to trip. In front of your new condos. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Something needs to be done with those. But, and I'm not blaming it totally on the engineers. I mean, I think we came up with a great product down here, and you're adding to it. But to me, the money we've spent so far on that, and I know you have out of your pocket, and the town appreciates that. But how do I ask taxpayers to go back and let's go back for some more money on Depot Street?
And Tim, part of, you asked about can the elements be changed?
Mm-hmm.
Those are LED,
Lights.
yeah, so they're about $2,000 for the,
And that's what I'm
pad.
proposing that we pay for
Each?
each.
Will that help to cut it from 4,000 lumens to 3,000?
Yeah, well, not only that, the electrical savings that you're paying for by reducing the
LEDs are,
from
FS,
4,000 to 3,000 is a number that I can't measure, but there's got to be savings there.
And I'd be remiss. I wouldn't be doing my job as a city manager, if I didn't suggest this to the city council, that we're making a public decision. There's the money part of the decision, but there's also the design and the aesthetics and the public safety part of the decision that has to be made by the city council as well. So I'd be remiss if I didn't suggest or encourage us that at some level, there's other users of Depot Street downtown. There's other property owners. There's other folks who use the street sidewalks. And there's a consideration of we need to consider it 17,000 people as well in making this decision. So, and I appreciate the investment that Mr. Niswanger has made, and it does impact his property, but there's a consideration of 17,000 people as well that we have to spend those public dollars and have this public design that's going to change.
And it will be in the newspaper tomorrow or sometime soon.
Spencer can make that happen, I think. Well, tonight, he said.
So we'll take this under advisement. Unless I hear a motion to approve it.
It wasn't on the agenda.
It was consideration or presentation.
Is that right?
Okay, so we can't take any action today.
Okay, number 2 is something that's near and dear to Tim's heart. There wasn't a 2-week period that went by that we didn't get a phone call from him when we were under construction with the new streetscape. I say we, the city. This was drawn some time ago by Dave Wright and John Fisher at my expense to the property that I deeded to the city, the 10-foot easement, to be able to get from the parking lot that's there down to the storefronts without having to go around the block and through what will soon be the Pocket Park over to Main Street and back down. But the importance, in addition to have an accessible, this is handicap, ADA approved, the way they drew this up is something that we need to get on very, very quickly, because as we lease the 8,000 square feet of retail, the owners of those businesses will be parking behind the building. The only way down now is to go out Main Street and walk all the way around. Well, carrying things down to your business and that sort of thing, to have straight access to the shops that is handicap accessible is critical. This should have been done during the project, but it didn't get done.
Well, and it wasn't done during the project because we didn't own the property.
Yeah, that's true. It took
And
us-
I think there was probably 3 to 4 years of negotiations on trying to get that property changed. And
That's true.
and we didn't get it done.
Yeah, that was 6 months ago.
Well, the project took 2.5 years, so
Anyhow, I'd like your response to when this will be complete.
we don't have it in our budget right now.
It's
do we?
budget time, so now's the time to talk about it. And I've been talking to Todd about getting started with this, and I don't know. I mean, we have pseudo design, correct, Mr. Niswanger?
Is this, I don't,
And
there's
it
this
may-
drawing
It's
here.
in the last
Yeah,
page.
I know, but it may change. Yeah, I looked at it on there, but, I mean, or do we go out of concrete? Do we go out of block? Do we go out of aluminum? You know, there's a lot of questions answered, and I guess that's gonna be difference in prices to put it in a budget also. So I guess we need to discuss that in a workshop.
And I think
When we have our workshop, do we start putting money for it? Because right now, the Pocket Park is,
can you get a
it's in
little
our
closer,
heads right now to
Tim?
make it handicap accessible, but it still doesn't have Depot Street. I mean, it does, but I want the 2 connections, and that's what's been in my head for 21 years,
time.
or more.
And just a sneak preview of the budget, you will see a budget with this in the capital project. And we do have some funding in the Depot Street project that could potentially fund a portion, maybe all of it, I don't know, but you will see this.
That being said, we had $50,000 for the Pocket Park, Eagles Rest, last year, but it got cut out to balance our budget.
Correct,
So-
that's correct.
Well, what's the estimated cost of this cut through?
I don't think we've put a pencil to it just yet.
And it depends on what the material's going to be. I don't really want anything that looks, like bleachers in a 40-year-old baseball stadium or something.
Ballpark figure?
Well, I think
I
the
don't have one. I mean, I haven't talked to Dave. Dave could
Eagles
probably come
Rest
up
is,
with
I
one.
think, 150. that was the
That's-
budget. I
that's
mean, that was
probably-
the,
And we don't have that, so I don't know what we're gonna put in there. We have a grant, of course, of $30,000.
I think that, did that
Jan
fall
here
through?
somewhere?
Okay.
$50,000. That was a part of the Main Street facade grant, is that correct? Downtown improvement. So we're gonna be lacking on the pocket park, but it's gonna have to be, we opened it up, but it's not handicap accessible right now, especially with the gravel in it, that's not handicap accessible. But I can't see why we can't make both of these work.
That's-
Hopefully this budget, we'll see.
Yeah, that's what you will see in a couple
We'll
of
put
weeks.
it in the budget and
We're-
go over it.
Again, we're willing to pay 75% of the cost for the lighting, which is critical. We need to get those ordered. It's like everything else in the supply chain. It's a while coming. And we'll either be signing contracts in the next 8 weeks or we won't. And this, of course, people will be moving in 8 weeks and walking around the block to get to their shops. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 8.3 is a presentation of 2025 first quarter performance measures. Todd?
Mayor, I'm going to call this a test run of performance measures that us as department heads started tracking in January of this year. And I got with every department head and we had a conversation and they set out some parameters as to what are the key indicators that make their department more effective, deliver better services, more efficient. And so we came up with a handful, a few in each department that we're going to start tracking. But what I'm presenting is in very rough form, and some of it is incomplete. So I want to run this as a beta test to the city council to see if this is the type of reporting you're looking for, if there's some other data sets that you're wanting for us to look at, and just get your gut response. And I'm going to be very quick, because I know we're on a tight schedule. So Kathy, if you want to go to the next slide. Here's the goals. 3 goals, basically. All right, so we can go through each department really quick. And again, I worked with the department heads. They kind of gave me some feedback on what they think is important to track. This is the police, and so police, we looked at percent of criminal cases cleared, number of non-call related contacts, that's kind of your community relations component to it. And then look at crash data, fatalities, injury, and property data. Roby Adult Center, we looked at new members, number of educational programs, physical therapeutic programs, and the My Ride program, which is a transportation program for the Roby Center. Public relations, social media followers, public notice complaints. That's going to be, we hope to not get a lot of public notice complaints because we hope we're doing our job right. But if we do get complaints, that's a flashing light. That's something, we need to do something different. Public works, we're going to start, of course, we just started out.
Who takes care of the public relations? Where does somebody call?
Christina.
They call your cell phone?
They call me occasionally. Christina is our public relations.
Okay, so we've got 0 and 0 right now,
Yes.
so we haven't had any since January.
We have not.
Okay.
We have not.
Todd, is marketing included in that as well?
Yes, it is.
Do we have any statistics specific to marketing? All I see are social media.
Other than followers, no. Other than the social media followers, no.
Okay.
Any thoughts, suggestions?
No, I mean, not right now. I mean, based off of this, it's all focused on just social media engagement. I didn't know if there were any specific marketing metrics that we would be looking at or gauging or, able to make decisions from.
Do we get any text messages or emails or questions on our sites?
The gain of followers, the gauge. I don't know.
Is there some way we could track those and maybe what are they for? Are they complaints about lights or streets or, and how do we respond to them? Can you think about that a little bit?
Yeah.
And that might be more of something, we don't get a lot of emails through the website, so I mean, sure, we could. Yeah, they go to different people, they don't all go to me, so they go to.
Well, and maybe it might be a good idea to get all of those together, and maybe you be the repository for them. That way we can see if we need to improve our communications on any of the, or what are the problems? Is it the street repairs or whatever? Just to find out what people are asking or concerned about.
So if it's, like for the police department,
I don't think we have to answer that right now. I guess just kind of a start. Well, I get calls about, when are you gonna fix Church Street? So if I could get that to you and we could start collecting that information, we might have a way to have a FAQ or something.
I think one of the ways to answer that is a technology answer. Can our website track every email coming in and send it to somebody? And that way, whether it's directed to the mayor or me or Public Works, somebody gets access to all of those emails. And maybe that's a technology question our IT team can look at to see if we can funnel that through to somebody, and then somebody's can track all of those emails, feedback.
That's something we can talk
Yeah.
about.
Okay.
Because I get calls, I'm sure everybody else, or you bump into people. I just try to figure out who to call, but you wouldn't know,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
unless I shared that with somebody.
Right. Okay. Thank you. That's good. That's what we want to hear is as we go through this. Public Works, the cost to resurface a street per mile. We're just starting to track that. Obviously, we've got our very first project out here on College Street. Garbage cans emptied per mile. We're going to, we don't know a good goal yet. We're going to get some data that we're going to start tracking and come up with some goals that we think we can hit. But right now we're tracking at 180.24 garbage cans emptied per hour across our force. Linear feet of sidewalk improvement, again, we've not gotten into the construction season yet, but we are going to start tracking that number. And response time to pothole repair, we've put a goal out there of 3 business days, and that will be started tracking. Part of these numbers, we're in the transition of our work order system. We've had an old system that didn't get utilized and wasn't effective for us. And in next budget year, we're asking for some dollars to go to an effective work order system that will help us track some of these numbers.
That 180.24 is 2 trucks, is that right, sir? 2 trucks?
That's
running?
1 truck. Should be 1 truck, right?
It's 2. Okay, you run 2. That's still a lot of trash cans,
It is. It is.
and that's probably multiple trash cans at one household or
Yeah.
one business.
All right, next slide. Building and planning. Value of permits, that number's skyrocketed this quarter. It fluctuates. But that's a big number. Our time from commercial building permit to approval, we want to keep that under 60 days, and we will start tracking that as we look at that data. And then time from inspection to completion, our goal is under 5 days. It's usually 2 to 3 days or less. Fire, our time between dispatch and beginning of response, our cost of operating our fire apparatus per mile we're tracking, and then our property loss due to fire.
Why is engine one so much higher? Anybody answer that over there in the corner?
You're starting to see some maintenance issues.
Wear and tear on the trucks, the older truck, okay.
Yeah, it is the oldest one in the fleet.
Still, that's not bad, I guess, for what.
It lasts or whatever.
It's good data because at some point it's not gonna be cost efficient to keep engine one
Oh,
online.
I know, that's fantastic to see.
Yeah.
Does an older truck chief or assistant chief, does it affect our ISO after a certain time, or like just taking engine one out?
Yeah,
So-
NFPA recommends, frontline engine rollout in 15 years, and then you can hold it in reserve for 5 years. It's a little longer on the ladder trucks. You can hold them for 20 years and then 5 years.
Are we in reserve for in engine one, is it in reserve time right now?
No, it is not.
How old is it?
Yeah, 2013 actually started, I think 2014 is when it was serviced.
Okay.
Human resources, turnover rate, we track the time from job posting to job offer, and then we're starting to track reasons for leaving. Finance, sealed bids, our debt service per capita, and Laura's working on some numbers of some kind of goal type numbers. Our audit findings per year, that, of course, that's a quarterly number, that's not gonna change year, it's gonna change once a year, it's not gonna change quarterly. And then I felt like our bond rating, again, that doesn't change, that changes even less than our audit finding, but I think that's a good indicator of the health of our community, is our bond rating that we keep and maintain. Parks and Rec, participation in different sports we've got, and then we've got total participation with numbers by city residents, county residents, and then outside of the county.
No, I don't have. Todd, we don't have Parks and Rec in our packet.
Yeah, I'd like to have that too.
Okay.
If you could send it to me, Kathy.
That was a late ad, yeah, I'm sorry, we'll put that in there.
Thank you.
All right, any questions
Butch,
or?
is it your fault?
No, it's not. That was on me.
Yeah,
Nope,
let's
it's
just
on
blame it
me.
on Butch.
That one's on me. So feedback, questions, as you're digesting this over the next week or two, if you've got some thoughts or feedback or some data sets you think are important to track, just feel free to let me know. But we hope to come to you once a quarter. Is everybody comfortable with a quarterly update? with
And
information?
is this data going to be shared with the departments? Is there a plan to make sure that, the folks on the ground understand what the performance indicators are and what they need to do in terms of accountability and measurability? Like, is all of that
Yeah.
worked out?
Yeah, that's a good thought. We'll make sure that it gets communicated.
It may get to where I'd like to have monthly,
Okay,
just put it in the packet anyway.
Right.
To where we see it.
okay.
And Todd and I have been talking a little bit about continuous improvement and trying to put some of those practices in place in the town. And this is a good start because you can only track you can only measure what you track. So.
All right, thank you.
Okay, item 8.4 is review and consideration of an agreement for the division and transfer of assets at the Green Center for Technology and the McNeese Building and the acceptance of a warranty deed. Is that you going back up there? Or are you going to talk from here?
Yeah, I'll talk from here if that's okay. This is the same agreement we saw at the last meeting for the division and transfer of the real estate component of the Green Technology Center. It's the McNeese facility and the Green Technology Center. Of course, it's jointly owned by the town, 1/3, the Greene County School System, 2/3. And this agreement this divides that property between the Greene County School System and the town of Greenville. And then there is a net, due to the value of the properties, there's a net transfer of $1 million from the town to the Greene County School System. The next couple of items will be dealing with the actual borrowing of that $1 million and the mechanism of who's paying for it, which is the school system, but that's in the next couple of agreements.
This is just our split from the county, correct?
It is. It is our split. So to buy, basically, we're buying out the county for $1 million. That gives us access to the Green Technology Center.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Item 8.5 is consideration of an interlocal agreement between the Greenville City Schools and the town of Greenville for the purchase of the Green Technology Center property.
So this agreement is actually an agreement with the city school system that essentially states that their quarter-cent property tax that has been historically dedicated to capital will be dedicated to paying off the $1 million note for the Green Technology Center. And Lord, do I need to add anything to that? Okay.
Pretty straightforward.
And it is 1/4%, not a,
The easiest, I said this to Spencer earlier, the easiest way to explain that is that referendum took our sales tax rate from 9.5% to 9.75%.
okay,
Does it help you?
yeah.
It's really a percent. It's not a cent, like a dollar, not money.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Spencer. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. And then item 8.6 is consideration of a resolution to issue a capital outlay note in the amount of $1 million for the purchase of the Green Technology Center property as outlined in the interlocal agreement and existing property documents.
So this resolution is for the actual outlay, the actual borrowing of the $1 million that will be, again, held in the town of Greenville's name with the MOU guaranteeing payment from the Greenville City School System to the town for the payment of this note. So this is the resolution that actually go out to the market and borrow the money.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second. I think the other two would be null and void if we didn't.
Yes, they would. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries.
It needs to be said here, it's an end of an era
Yes.
right here with the technology. Used to be just the shining jewel in vocational education, our joint effort here.
Yeah, I think we really will need to monitor this because it's going to be difficult to run a school with 120 students. And Todd and I've had some discussions with others about what we might could do if something happens with the Center for Technology. So, thanks, Jenny. Item 8.
This agreement in the packet is, after consideration with the airport, with the chairman of the airport authority and with our city attorney, we went back with some concerns about specifically how employees were treated under the considered agreement, proposed agreement, considered agreement. And we went back and had to do some work on essentially benefits. Are employees going to fall under the town of Greenville retirement plan, or does there need to be a separate retirement plan? In this case, there needs to be a separate retirement plan. Health insurance, is that provided under the Greenville? Are they covered under the Greenville plan, or should there be a separate town airport authority plan? And in answering these questions about benefits, what is being proposed is a separation of the airport authority from the town of Greenville. So those benefits will be covered by the airport authority. Employees will be Greenville Municipal Airport authorities. They will not be town of Greenville employees. And so this agreement proposes a more separation of the airport from the town of Greenville.
did this all come about? I mean, this is an issue that's been under a lot of discussion, and I mean, this seems like we're making that decision.
It started as feedback from our auditors of trying to determine how our employees are to be treated. So that started the question, and in that brought up other questions about how do we treat employees? Do I have any input in hiring and firing employees? And my personal interpretation is no, those are airport authority employees. And so between that conversation about how employees are to be treated and our feedback from our auditors, it came to a point where we need a written agreement between the town and the airport to clarify this role.
Okay. Did the airport authority, I should probably know this, but did they take action on this particular issue?
It's up on the next, did y'all approve this last meeting, Paul? Okay, okay. Got it.
There has been discussions between you and the chairman.
Yes, several discussions.
And do you think this is the best direction, Paul?
Frankly, it's kind of brought forth questions. Is this separation good? Should we separate more? Should there be more separation? Frankly, it's brought up questions. Should we have a conversation about it being a department of the town of Greenville? And then these relationships, the employees do become employees of the town. I do have a say in hiring employees at the airport. So, frankly, this agreement's brought that question forth about just the relationship that the town has with the Greenville Municipal Authority. You know, this agreement that we're looking at today, I think, goes full circle back to our original conversation about that kind of arm's length separation between the town and the airport authority. And this just codifies and clarifies some of those relationships.
And was this drafted by our city attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Jenny, your point, when we have our retreat and talk about our 10-year plan, this could be one of the topics. Does it need to be a town department, or does it need to be completely separate? And Laura's done a lot of research. If you look at airports in our area, there's both. So.
I will say that after speaking to our auditors in the comptroller's office, to no fault of anyone in particular, when the town made the decision to make this a municipal airport authority in 2018, by the state statute, it should have had its own employer identification number and been separate from the town from the beginning, and it was not. And so over the course of one question and another, this is kind of prompted to where we are today.
Accounting's still going to go through the town, correct? Your office, the accounting for their. What the agreement says is they shall assist. So to me, at that level, the airport is going to be doing their own accounting. We can assist as needed, but they probably need to start looking at an accounting firm to do their own books.
I guess it'd be very similar to the Energy Authority, huh?
Yeah, in the Water Commission. I make motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, like sign. Motion carries. Item 8.8 is consideration of interlocal agreement with the 3rd Judicial District Task Force, Drug Task Force. Chief Spano. Hello.
This agreement's the same one we sign every year, just outlaying the operations of how we work within the third DTF. And the other departments just basically makes up the rules and stuff of how we can operate.
Can you just real quickly, everybody's heard it, but there's maybe some people out here that don't know what the Third Judicial District Task Force is and what we do to help them?
Well, right now we have 2 people assigned to it, and one of them is the actual person in charge of it. And then we also have another one that is assigned to it that is working under the FBI umbrella, so that we can work cases that might travel outside of Greenville or the third DTF. Third DTF is made up of 4 counties, Hawkins, Hancock, Hamlin, and Greene. And so what it does, it allows our officers to go down here, they work undercover, and then they can go into any of these counties, because obviously drug issues don't just operate inside your jurisdiction, they bleed out into other areas. So it allows them to go out into these 4 counties and still operate and make arrests and stuff. So,
How many years has this been in existence?
well, Tim was on it for a long time.
When he had hair.
When he had hair, I mean, it was really long. too.
Long hair.
82?
Steve Burns, I believe, is the one that, well, he was part of the initial crew that got it going, and it was in I think it was mid-'80s, mid to early '80s.
Mid-80s.
Didn't the drug plane have something to do with the
It
creation?
did.
That's where the initial funding came
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
Those seizures.
It serves us well. They make good cases, and which leads into a lot of stuff. And we work with the DEA, the FBI, and even the ATF out of there.
I'll say this, they're recognized yearly
Yeah.
for cases that they've made at the statewide gathering and on a national level.
Yeah.
So they do good work.
They've had several cases of the year for the region.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you,
very much.
sir.
All right.
Thanks, Chief.
Item 8.9 is consideration of a policy for filling vacant and expired seats on town boards and commissions.
This was created, and I apologize, it's not in your packet, but it's the same one I sent to you a couple weeks ago. A policy that's, I got from your feedback at the last meeting of how do we choose candidates for boards and commission. And essentially, the big change in this policy is that for every seat that comes up for renewal, whether the member wants to be renewed or not, we're going to go out and advertise to the public that the seat is open and are there interested applicants. And then we will take the applications and go back to the board or commission and ask them for a recommendation to the full city council for that position. So that's essentially what changes right now we've allowed that incumbent member, if they're interested in being reappointed, to come back to the full board for that one incumbent member. This opens up that seat for the general public to apply for that.
Todd, if I remember correctly, 2 years ago, we sort of went over this and asked, instead of us reading 15 applications for one seat, that we took a recommendation from the parking authority or the recreation department or whatever that board seat may be, and then come back to us with a name.
Right.
So we don't stand here with 3 people out there.
Right.
Trying to embarrass 2 people, or not trying, but probably would.
Right.
So where's that fit into that? I mean, recommendations from the board
Right.
to us.
So that's still in place under this policy. The boards,
I didn't read that.
the
I
boards.
didn't read it that way, but go ahead.
That's the intent. If that should be stated in there, that the board will still send one name recommendation to the city council.
But
for
we go over all applications?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
No,
I
you
don't-
would go over
I don't
one
understand.
name. The biggest difference is, again, that seat where there's an incumbent member, that will be opened up to the general public to apply for that one seat.
To go to that board.
To go to that
To
board.
go through the applications and bring us still one.
One name, correct. Correct.
I agree with that.
My
That
concern
probably-
from, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I agree with Tim, that's a little muddy in here, because it's like, we get the recommendation, that needs to be stated, that decision by that board or commission is weighted.
Yes, and I would like to see some rationale or explanation, because right now, I don't see how this policy makes it any more or less arbitrary, and quite honestly, I think it seems a little bit performative. There is no transparency in the evaluation process, and that's what I would like to see. And I put that in my email to you, and you sought recommendations from us. It doesn't have to be anything super dynamic, but at least a basic rubric where we as a city council can go back and look at the metrics that were used, qualitative feedback from the board members as to why that individual was the ideal candidate, maybe over another candidate. Because right now, we have no metric to evaluate that, and it just, I don't see how this doesn't fix the problem of transparency. Right now, it still seems very arbitrary and very performative.
What did you highlight, Kathy?
And that highlights it. Today, when we send a board nominee to you, we put all the applicants in your board packet, but you will have one recommendation from that board. So you still have the opportunity to pick somebody other than the recommended choice. That's still city council's option.
And again, I'll say, I understand that part of it, how we get a recommendation. I want to understand what made them eligible. Why did they receive the recommendation from that board? Right now, we have nothing to base that on. And if those individuals on those boards are the quote-unquote experts and they know what they're looking for, they have their plans, and they, in good faith, make a recommendation, I'm supposed to just accept that whenever I've got other applications, because whenever I look at the applications, I'm going to have my own perspective. Having a rubric or something to look at might help justify why one person over another, rather than me standing here all confused as to, okay, this person over that person, that doesn't make sense, or this person over that person. So again, some type of evaluative measure, I think, is necessary to make the evaluation process more transparent. We can still have recommendations, that's fine, but I want to see qualitative and quantitative feedback as to why that individual has been recommended. These positions on these boards and commissions are way too important to continue putting our buddies on them.
You comfortable with coming up with that dynamic?
Yeah, I put it in my email to Todd that I'd recommend, and I actually gave him an example rubric based off of just criteria that the city of Franklin uses. And I would like to, have the individual boards and commissions be a part of that conversation too. And because again, they're going to know what they're looking for in their individuals. It's based off of their strategic plans, their goals, their values, their mission, whatever. But I want to see some type of qualitative and quantitative data. I think it helps inform our decision, because to your point, Tim and Jenny, I mean, you get 19 applications for a particular position. That's a lot to have to wade through. And while, yes, we should still evaluate them, we don't really have a tool to do that other than just our discretion, which can sometimes have bias.
Well, I think you said you've got a rubric, so,
I like resumes.
well.
Hear, hear.
But you could take resumes and use that to help quantify it. Can you?
And I'm willing to put in the work to help develop something. Like I said, I did share something with Todd as an example. It's just a matter of if that's the way we want to go as a board, I think, is really the
Yeah,
question.
And I think if we want to establish, I think important to looking at some objective measures is just determining for each board what's important for a board member. And there's probably 4, 5, 6, however many aspects, criteria that are important for a board member to participate. So how do we, just a matter of identifying those for every board, putting a value to those 4 or 5 things, and then a score sheet, seemingly.
This really doesn't change much from what we're doing now, does it?
It depends how you want to treat the rubric. Do you want to, I mean, is that a binding? Are boards bound that the highest score gets the recommendation? I guess it's how you want to value the rubric or the.
That's all part of the development process, but I don't think necessarily, again, we still have discretion as a board, but at least now we have some type of tool to say this is why this individual was recommended. I don't think it has to necessarily be binding. I think depending on our own level of discretion, we would have access to the rubric and we could do our due diligence and assess it the same way that the board members on the individual councils and commissions do. But looking at their, it gives us a way to actualize and visualize their discretion to give a more complete story and more context. So I think it's just more in terms of developing it right now, so.
Kathy, when's the next board member appointment? Oh, crap. Do you have a rubric?
Because if I had known it was only for 3 months, I would have just waited and had her put on the board in January. So it's kind of like she's only been on our board for 3 months, so it's not really a new vacancy. She was recommended to replace somebody that had to resign from the board. And with that, the way the policy's been so far, she would have, after she finished out that person's term, she would have automatically
Okay. I think also as part of this policy, we need to really consider term limits or how long people can serve for any of the boards possibly.
Why don't we look at this in our strategic planning process?
Do I hear a recommendation to table this?
Yeah, I'll make that recommendation.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thanks for putting this together, Todd. And with somebody that's on MTS now, if you could see what other communities have that kind of an activity, that could help us.
Each and every board's gonna be different.
Absolutely.
I will agree with Matt, though. I think we need some sort of,
They're gonna be a fit for that board either. Gotta keep that in mind.
we do need to try to get the best people in the best places. Item 810, Scott, road maintenance and resurfacing update. Is this another one of those things like we've,
Unfortunately, it is.
I understand.
So, but it was only one cut and it was good, so.
Good. Did you have the mows?
Yes. So, I just wanted to bring you an update, on road maintenance resurfacing. Going to talk about the pavement condition study that we got back. We got the data from that, the resurfacing plans, both for the balance of this fiscal year and looking into FY '26. Talk about the new patch truck just a little bit and any questions the board might have. We'll address those. So the pavement condition study, I don't think really revealed anything we didn't already know. In actuality, things are maybe a little bit better than we thought they were in some cases. The scale goes from 0 to 100, and so basically 91 to 100 is great or very good. 81 to 91 is good, and 65 to 41 is fair. Our average around the town on the streets that we had evaluated came out to 69. 80% of the roadways in the town basically have surface defects, which can be anything from cracking to there's small cracks, large cracks, surface stress that really just comes from being weathered, being driven on, things like that. Nothing unexpected there. The good news is the roads technically qualify for the most part as fair condition. The bad news is we would assume they're moving toward the poor condition. And the repair backlog, so the PCI, the consultant took a look at all the different methodologies to repair the roads based on PCI. We gave them some information on the costs involved in those types of repairs. If we were to follow every recommendation they made, there's a giant table of data, and each segment has a recommendation. We would have to spend about almost $24 million to bring everything up. So, but again, that's not unexpected and it's not atypical in a municipality to have that situation 9 times out of 10. The roads are kind of headed downhill at a rate faster than most municipalities can afford to fix them. So, but we do have some things resurfacing wise. I'm going to go to the next. This is just a map they provided, and again, they did give us all the GIS data, so I'm working with Justin to get that incorporated into our GIS data set. But it does give you a rough idea. The reds are obviously the worst, the greens, the yellows. So the problems are spread pretty well throughout.
What is dark? There's no legend on the drawing. What's the dark green?
The green and
That's
dark green
good.
is good. I'm sorry.
I see it now. I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's on the last slide, yeah.
That was my mistake. I apologize
I've
for
got it.
that. But, so the red's the bad, essentially, and the yellow is fair. It's pretty much what we'd expect. It's what we kind of know by driving around the town. What we'll try to do with this is take this map as a visual and break it into parts and concentrate our repair efforts across the town and not just focus on one part. So that's the nice part about having the map. So the resurfacing plans to address this, just to bring you up to date, I spoke with Troy Ebert from TDOT the other day. The Main Street resurfacing project is still scheduled to be let to the contractor at the end of June. Hopefully that'll hold true. The project that involves Church, Old Shiloh, and Irwin Highway, actually Snaps Ferry, as the last board meeting, got dropped off that because of the railroad crossing. So the consultant has updated the plans and the estimate, and that went back over to TDOT this morning. So they have that back in their hands, and hopefully they'll be moving on that. They've got everything they need, as far as I know, so hopefully we'll get that going, in the summer or by the fall as well, if we're lucky.
What's the time schedule on that June 27th let? What are they allowing contractors? You know?
I don't know. As far as,
I mean, it's gonna be paved this year.
that's the plan, yes.
Hopefully.
That's what TDOT says.
Okay.
That's the plan, so yeah. I mean, we should, if all of this falls into place, we could see a lot of paving in the fall. If both of the projects, just looking at that, if those all come to fruition this year, we could see a significant amount of resurfacing being done. As far as the town is concerned, it's our goal, we had pretty ambitious goals to do in-house paving for FY '25. I don't think that's quite worked out the way we thought it might, for a lot of different reasons. But we do plan, we're gonna go ahead and try to implement a contract to get West Van Road paved. We've got the documentation drawn up for that, and we're gonna get that to finance and get that out to bid. And then, and if we're looking forward to FY '26, I would like to take a large portion of our street fund and go out for contract paving to the tune of about 500,000. And inside of that, I want to go ahead and do, not only, we did last year, the first year I was here, there was some paving done with no markings. I don't want that to happen again. So everything that we do from here forward is going to be complete resurfacing, markings, everything, to bring it up to code, basically, if we can. And that includes the Academy. They're going to be putting the double yellow down tomorrow and striping the parking spaces tonight. So that should look, College. That should look really, really good by the end of the week. But that's the kind of thing that we can expect from these paving jobs. It won't just be throwing down the asphalt and leaving town. We want to make sure it's kind of a complete street. Everything is done the way it's supposed to be done. And then finally, just to talk a little bit about the patch truck, which I really want to express my gratitude again for the board to give us the ability to make that purchase. It really has made a big difference. It's only been here a couple of months. The crews are really taking to it. They're learning how to use it. They're taking good care of it. They've put down about 80 tons of asphalt so far with it. And there's virtually zero waste. There is no more going and spreading excess asphalt at the end of the day or dumping it out or whatever. It's that truck, the way it's equipped, can maintain asphalt and tack overnight. So if in one day, we can go right back out the next morning and pick up where we left off. So it really just eliminated the materials waste that we had before we got it. And we've been doing the water department cutouts, the patches, speed bumps. And again, it's just increased efficiency. The biggest has been the elimination of the waste, and the other has been we've pretty much been able to cut it down from 6 personnel to 4 to efficiently run that truck. So I really think it's going to make a big difference. I want to try to use it. We talked about the pothole as a performance measure. Having that 72-hour window to make maintenance on potholes, I think, is important, and we just need to figure out a good way to take those complaints or those concerns and start that clock and finish it. And as Todd mentioned, with a work order system, we should be able to do that as well. So I think that's pretty much all I had. I don't have a hard copy, but I have PDFs of that, any of the PCI data reports. If you'd like to see any of that, I can certainly send it to you. It's about 34 pages long, but it takes a deeper dive into the specific types of reconstruction and repair that we can make. Gives you a really good idea what all that's about. So I'll be happy to send that to any of you guys that want it.
Appreciate all you guys are doing. You're making a difference.
They're getting there. I'm optimistic going forward. I know we didn't probably quite hit the mark this past year, but that's part of me getting used to how things operate here with the different seasons and not the lack of asphalt and all that. So now we're kind of fine-tuning what we're looking at and realizing what we can and can't do efficiently. So
College Street is night and day different today, so thank you for doing that.
I hope by the end of tomorrow with the striping, it's going to look really
And you mentioned having waste sometimes. Can you explain what happened out on Church Street with waste?
So if I'm not mistaken, that happened when we were paving Academy. They had a few tons of excess asphalt at the end of the day in the last truck. And they went out on Church and basically took the asphalt and ran it out. And that's seemed like a good idea. And it made a little bit of a difference, but it kind of, I think,
That was one of the calls I got was.
Instead of wasting it, they were just trying to make good use of it. So
You big dummies, why don't you finish your jobs when you get them started? But anyway.
You can't do anything right.
I'm glad they did what they did with
Oh, I
it.
am
Instead
too.
of
No, it
dumping
was-
it in somebody's ditch.
It was just a decision they made, and I was like, that's fine. I mean, you did what you thought was what you needed to do, and it made a difference. It's made it better. And the state hopefully will come in and get it all done.
That project was approved in 2018, wasn't it? 2017?
Street, 2021.
Oh, 2021.
Yeah.
We may get it paved one of these days.
I'd like to still be alive. How about you?
Well, let's hope.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Scott.
Item 811. You've made it for an hour, so now it's time to go, huh?
Sit down.
I don't blame you.
An hour, I think they're going on too. They get double time.
Consideration of recommendation for landfill grinding service bid award.
So this one is, we put a bid out for grinding services, to grind the brush at the landfill. The brush has been an ongoing issue, mainly because it comes in a lot faster than we can process it. We have the burner out there, but you can only load that about a scoop every 15 minutes, 20 minutes on a good day when it's burning efficiently. And so the brush has continued to stack up. So
Are we still having problems with that air curtain? We still having problems with that? No?
Not
well,
from
it's-
T-Deck.
it's-
Is the T-Deck problems? No, they're,
Well, I should have clarified
It's
what I was
just
asking.
not real, it's not fast. I mean, it's just, you have to really,
I was just talking about getting fined for
No.
the air curtain. Okay.
no. So in order to kind of alleviate the brush problem, we were looking at the grinding. So we put that bid out. We had, we only got one eligible proposal back. And that's for basically, it's $16.50 a ton. And we're looking at spending, we have a $75,000 cap in place currently. And that's gonna be funded out of the landfill cash flow. So even though we only got one proposal back, we do recommend moving forward with that eligible proposal. It should grind about 4,500 tons of material of the brush, which Tony has indicated, and I would agree, will allow T-Deck to realize that we're making an effort to handle the issue, and it should actually alleviate a substantial amount of the backlog that's out there now. And then going down the road, we might seek additional funding to possibly extend that out a little bit.
and Scott, we're accepting the proposal to grind in place, right? We're gonna bring the brush to them. So our employees are able to bring it to them. Is that,
Yes.
okay?
The $16.50 a ton is grind in place. Yes.
And essentially, they're gonna just set up shop where our pile is.
Yeah.
So they're gonna put their grinder
Yeah.
where our pile is, and it's gonna all be there.
The chips, as those pile up, we're gonna be able to move those when you use those for cover at some point in
Yeah.
the future. So we'll be able to utilize that material, because obviously if you grind it, you're gonna have a big pile of wood chips, but we can use that for cover.
Do we have any indication of how long that'll extend the landfill's operational life at all?
Well, I mean, in terms of the demo, it won't make any difference. It's because the brush isn't going in there now.
Right.
It's just a matter of being able to clear the back. I don't know if you've seen the brush pad out there in that area, but it's pretty
lot.
bad.
Yeah.
So it really is just a matter of trying to get that resolved. To make sure that we don't run into any issues environmentally with what's been, what's stacking up. We just felt like, and I agree, Tony does, and I agree that we have an opportunity to get something going, get an effort in place, and we should do it.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Item 8.12, consideration to approve the purchase of a 2025 John Deere Gator XUV 845M for the Public Works Department. Tony's usually in here asking for money. Where is he today?
I'm asking for it on his behalf. This is actually for Public Works. So we had a Gator or a side-by-side that we were using when I first got here, up until just recently, primarily for our weed control, our spraying operations, and a lot of the smaller level stuff that we're doing downtown. That machine quit, so we were able to utilize one from the police department, which we were grateful for, but that one is also in the process of quitting. They've had it for quite a while and they weren't using it, so they allowed us to grab it and use it, and we did that for a bit, but it's to the point where it's not working anymore. So I spoke to Laura, and there are some funds available. So this is something that we really do need. We could put it off a couple of months, but our spraying would really, really fall behind, and right now is a critical time for that. And the landscaper that we have now, that position is utilizing this side-by-side quite a bit, so it's fairly critical in terms of just the upkeep of the landscape and keeping the weeds down. That's what we're asking for. This is on a state contract, it's on Sourcewell.
How old was the older one? You know, Laura? How long we've had the
I
other
don't
Gator?
know.
I don't know. It's pretty old, but I don't know when they got it.
But if this is not budgeted, where's this coming from?
We have fund balance savings where we did not draw down our fund balance hardly at all because those grants are pushed off to next year. So we do have the cash available to pay for that.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion to approve?
It's just used for spraying, did you say?
It's used for, especially now with the landscaping that we're doing downtown, he's using it to carry stuff with that, but primarily it's used for spraying. And also, I think out on the bypass, carrying it when they're mowing out there, probably for litter pickup and keeping ahead of with the weed eater and so forth. So it's definitely, I would say, a road maintenance, landscape maintenance, but that's
So do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Item 8.13 is consideration to approve the purchase of a cardiac monitor for the Greenville Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor. This is to replace, the same as we did last year, one of the Philips monitors that currently is not supported anymore. So when these monitors go down, there's no way to fix those. The monitor that we were replacing it with is the same as the one last year. It's a refurbished monitor. It's saving us about $20-some thousand versus a new monitor. The LifePak monitors also is what EMS use. So when we encounter a patient, we actually put our pads on that patient. When EMS comes, they can just hook their monitor to it and go. So it is critical as far as patient care.
We have one in service now.
We do. We run a refurbished one for about a year. So far, it's doing just the same as a brand new monitor, but at a considerable savings.
Do we have this in the budget?
Yes, this is a budgeted item.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against, like sign. Motion carries. Item 8.14 is consideration of a resolution to apply, accept, administer, and amend a grant by Norfolk Southern Safety First Grant. Kathy?
Yes, we applied for this grant last year through Norfolk Southern, and we're wanting to apply for it again. It just opened up April 1st, and it goes until September the 15th. And the fire department is requesting to apply for this grant in the amount up to $15,000. That's the max amount you can apply for with the Safety First grant. And they're wanting to use the items, if approved and awarded, for swift water items and ropes and things of that nature. So
This is zero match.
zero match.
I make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 8:15 is consideration to approve renewal of the agenda software effective July 1st, 2025.
Mayor, this is our Granicus software that we've had for about 3 or 4 years, that we use for our agenda items and other things, and it is coming due. The total is $10,295 for the renewal.
What's the other things, this software?
Yeah.
It does agendas, basically, everything we feed into the agenda goes through the software. It is capable of doing some other things that we haven't mastered nor found a whole lot of use for yet. But in terms of keeping agendas straight, pulling from older agendas, tracking, that's one thing it can do, is track data from old agendas, track what's in the agenda packages. Yep.
Which other departments or boards or commissions uses this software now, Kathy? Is there others?
Airport Authority.
I think it would be good if we could get everybody the ability to use that, so it's consistent.
And just like a question, and I don't mean to diminish it, because I mean, it could be a life-saving tool, so I don't want my question to come across as I'm questioning that. But like, what, it seems to me, what does this tool do that Microsoft Suite doesn't do? And because you said publishing to websites, you can do that through the website, through HTML, like you can publish agendas.
It's a portal that several users have access to, so when Alan has an agenda item, Scott has an agenda item, they can all go into the same meeting. They can publish their agenda item and line it up so that basically all the departments are working together instead of that going through one person. Like in the past, I'm guessing that, I think Amy maybe put them together, and all the information would come to her, all the documents, so she would be responsible for scanning all those and putting all those together. But this way, finance, all the different departments can put their own material in there, so it encapsulates that, and then it publishes it to our website. It basically talks to our website to put it on that page, minutes, packet, agenda.
It's very good for referencing previous items.
We also search, it's kind of become an archive in a way too, because we can go in there and search all the meeting minutes and, or not the minutes necessarily, but the agenda.
Well,
Agenda software companies that most city governments use, and Granicus is one of the main ones.
We have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Item 8:16 is consideration of a special event sign request for the Smoky Mountain Super Truck and Tractor Pull held at the Greene County Fairgrounds, June 20th and 21st.
Yes, sir. This is the second year they've requested, second year for the event. I've reviewed all the locations with the organizers. They're also putting these out to guide people in. It's as much to advertise as it is to bring the machines in. Some of these are some big pulling machines. We don't want them back on our residential streets, putting a lot of weight on them. So I recommend approval. Everything meets our requirements of the sign ordinance.
Thank you. We have a recommendation for this approval of the sign request. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Sure.
I'd like to amend what I've asked for because time is of the essence. Robin reminded me that the order for the materials that we would place with Greenville Energy Authority is 6 weeks out, or 8 weeks from occupancy. So what I'd like to suggest to you is I'll pay for the whatever amendment needs to be done to the lighting and working with the GEA. If you all get into your budgeting process and find the $10,000 in funding, great. If you can't, I've got it, but I need yes or no from this group today on whether you'll permit GEA and the developer to work to modify that lighting.
If I may, Mayor, we can't take a vote on any of that, but I think he can work with Todd on that. If I understand that correctly.
That's fine.
Or do we need to authorize Todd to talk with Mr. Niswonger?
I mean,
Up to
as long as it's
10,000?
10,000 and under, Todd can do it, correctly?
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. And are you comfortable authorizing me to just negotiate any kind of changes in lighting, just the composite of the lighting?
If you will talk to the other business owners as soon as you can, and if there's no problem, I can support that.
Okay.
And Spencer's going to make it known, aren't you, Spencer? It's getting
Tomorrow.
late.
Tomorrow's
It's
headline.
getting-
Katie, when-
I think most people will not be able to tell you the truth, but there might be somebody objective to it.
Well,
But
you will be able to tell between that block and the other blocks on
True.
Depot. So anyway, that,
Yeah, I'm
Main
only
Street's
interested in
different.
The one block where we've got residential right now.
Yeah, in Maine, like
Main's
Mayor
different.
just said, it's different if you look from my church up to Niswonger Foundation. So
And two sides of the road.
as long
in
as it's
front of
not a
that.
blue light and a white light,
It's
then
just be-
most people are not gonna be able to notice it.
So you and Todd can get together.
I wouldn't be able to notice it, so that's my recommendation, because we cannot take a vote if I'm correct.
All right,
So
work with him,
I can do it.
or me, or us, or no, with him.
The second recommendation I'd like to make after having been through this process is that a study committee be formed to standardize on the lighting for our downtown area. And while we're doing that same committee take a look at recommendations on signage that are more appropriate in towns these days, like Augusta and Peachtree City and other towns where we don't have 20-foot high, or whatever it is, 15-foot high poles. Just study that and come back with recommendations, and maybe that fits under the planning committee.
It might, yeah.
Commission.
We can look at that in our strategic plan for sure.
Okay. Well, I'll supply you.
We're
with
not
some
through yet.
information.
We're not through yet.
I know.
Oh, okay. Thought you were packing up. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, now we got a motion and a second, and all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Now we'll reconvene as the beer board. Are they open across the street?
Not on Tuesdays.
Dadgummit, maybe we'll go over there. Thank you, Mr. Niswonger. Is there anybody for a public comment, Kathy? Okay. Old business consideration to approve the minutes of the special call meeting held on Tuesday, March 4th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
New business, consideration of application for on-premise consumption at Echo Station LLC, 209 Austin Street.
Where is that, Chief, on Austin Street?
It's right there on the corner, up on Bohannon and Austin, right there on that corner. I think it used to be like a karate center.
Do you know where you turn left to go down to Greenville Builders off of Austin? It's right there. It's a metal corrugated building. Oh, are this them? Oh, okay, them. Come, you want to come up here?
Yeah.
looking into the applicants, we didn't see any conflicts that would get into anything with any of our ordinances or anything, we would respectfully.
You want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Brian Hagenberger, and this is Lori Ollie, and we're the owners of Echo Station.
Okay.
On Austin Street, and appreciate the time here.
All right, what's it going to be?
Motion to approve.
We got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Really interesting concept that they have over there. And Brian, how many tax drafts do you have, or 40?
Oh, wow.
Different drafts, and, it's a deal where you can, it's all electronic, you can buy a card and
Pay by the ounce? Pay by the ounce? Is it a pay by the ounce tip? Like, have you been to Pour in Knoxville? So similar concept? Oh, that's going on the Facebook Live.
Bert, you're smiling.